Apart from plunging an entire world into a stress, the current conflict in West Asia has exposed a new vulnerability. The GCC as a geography, as an economy, as a way of life was built on a particular assumption. And the assumption was that the region would remain stable enough for ordinary life to continue. So the deeper story in the Gulf is about the people who've migrated to the Gulf. Across the 6 GCC countries, there is a total population of around 61 million. Of those, roughly 30 to 35 million are foreign nationals, about half of the entire population. And the largest share of those expatriates comes from South Asia. Roughly about 9 million Indians, 5 million Bangladeshis, 4 million Pakistanis, and if we add Nepali and Sri Lankan communities, we have nearly 20 million South Asians living across the GCC region. So, another way to look at it is that 1 in 3 Gulf residents is South Asian at the moment. In the UAE and Qatar, foreigners make up close to 90% of residents. And these are not guest workers passing through the region. These are people who have spent decades building careers, raising children, and constructing entire lives and livelihoods in these regions, inside an economy that made these countries their homes. So when the war has tested the region, it has especially tested the residents of the Gulf. Careers here are built over 10, 15, 20 years. Professional networks don't transfer. Experiences are calibrated to Gulf labor markets. They don't automatically translate elsewhere. Immigrant communities have had children born and raised here. Some have never lived in the country on their own passport in a very long time. So financial commitment, loan, property, family remittances are all structured around Gulf salaries. And then there is something harder to quantify. For many, home stopped being home a long time ago. The country they'd returned to feels unfamiliar. The systems feel alien, the pace feels wrong, the social uprooting required to leave is not just economic. For many of these people living in the Gulf, it is existential. So overall, leaving is a luxury many do not have. And for those who do, it still isn't simple. So when tensions rise as they have now, the most common response is not to flee. It is to wait, to keep going to work, to keep the children in school, to keep watching and hoping that things would stabilize sooner rather than later. It's also important to remember that Riyadh, Dubai, Doha, these are not economies built for interruption. They're built on continuity. And millions of people, certainly from South Asia, but elsewhere from the world as well, have tied their lives to that continuity. So even where departure is possible, the cost is immediate, which really narrows real choices. Staying carries uncertainty, leaving carries disruption. For many families, immediate movement is simply not realistic. Modern global stress looks like up close, not in headlines. In the quiet decisions millions of people make every day, to stay, to wait, and to keep going, hoping for the best.